What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I've got some insane battles to show you guys in the Great League Remix Cup featuring two more wing attack users, Archen and Archeops. And if you guys don't know, these are two very attack weighted Pokemon, similar stat product to Haunter, so very glassy Pokemon. Unfortunately for them, they don't really have the best charge moves, or at least charge moves that deal a ton of damage. A lot of them are non-stab, and Ancient Power, you guys know, isn't the best move, so they haven't really seen an awful lot of play. But with the wing attack buff, they get to these moves at an insane rate, and that really helps them out. I put this team together thinking it's a bit of a meme team, not really expecting to do too well, but maybe the wins that I do get would still be worth showcasing in a video. But I was completely wrong. These two Pokemon put in so much work in this meta, and I was seriously impressed, and I'm sure you guys will be too. You'll notice that this team is triple weak to electric, so if we do see an electric type, then that's going to be pretty bad for us. But fortunately for me, the only electric type I saw in the 5 sets I did with this team was Unnovan Stunfisk, and Poliwrath does have some play in that matchup, so it's not the end of the world. So with that being said, let's get into the question of the day. What's the strongest Great League duo where both Pokemon are part of the same evolution family with the same unique typing and similar movesets that you think would form a very strong ABB style team like the one featured in today's video? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle here, we lead into a Cresselia, very bad lead for us. I'm going to swap straight away into the Archen here. My opponent swaps into a Unnovan Stunfisk. Things are really not looking good for us here. A Discharge probably one-shots us, so even though we are resisting the mud shots, it doesn't really make too much of a difference in this matchup here. We do shield the Discharge here, and you see the Crunch actually put them into range where I might be able to farm them down if I can land a second Crunch, and I am able to. My opponent choosing not to shield here, that might cost them because I'm going to shield the second Discharge here. Can I wing attack, farm them down? Yes, I am able to, and they also come out with loaded energy, which is really nice. We go for yet another Crunch. My opponent lets it go through. That does massive damage to the Cresselia, and we get to a Dragon Claw on the CMP tie with this Cresselia. Things are now looking pretty good for us here. They go for a Moonblast, it takes me out. I'm going to come in with my Archeops. They come in with a Shadow Charizard. This is not the matchup they want to be in. I'm expecting a shield here, and we do get it with the Dragon Claw bait. I go for one more wing attack, swap into the Poliwrath. My opponent is going to have to throw 2 charge moves here to take me out, so they go for the back-to-back Dragon Claw, and now I know they have very little energy, so I can come back in with the Archeops here, go for a Dragon Claw, and will I be able to get to another charge move before the Cresselia in the end game here? We get to the Dragon Claw, and once again it's a CMP tie. Dragon Claw is enough to take out the Cresselia there, and I'm able to take that game. So a pretty insane way to start off the video here. Into the next battle here, we lead into a Whiscash, so this is a pretty decent matchup for me. But because we are a Shadow Poliwrath, and you can see my IVs really aren't the best here, they have very low defense, so we land a Dynamic Punch, but we're going to need to land another move here to take out this Whiscash. A second Mud Bomb would put me very low, so I'm actually going to swap into my Archen here. They stay in, they probably farm to the Blizzard, they don't bait me here, so I have to shield there. And now I'm going to go for a Crunch up against this Ferrothorn. My opponent lets it go through. They're at a charge move, so I go for the Dragon Claw straight away. Bit of a mistake. They actually go for an over farm here, and now they're going to throw their charge move, and this is a Power Whip. It's enough to take me out. Like I said, Archen and Archeops, very attack weighted Pokemon. They're not really going to be able to tank many charge moves here, but luckily for me, I'm able to wing attack, farm down the Ferrothorn before they get to another charge move. They're coming back in with the Whiscash. I'm able to wing attack, farm them down too, and now they've got a Toxicroak in the back. And this should be a pretty good matchup for me, but we are of course part rock type, so we're taking neutral damage from counter, one of the best fast moves in the game, so it's not completely over yet. We get a shield from the Toxicroak, we do massive damage, and as well, you know what I'm thinking, I'll just let this go through and put my faith into the Archeops. We are able to get to the final Dragon Claw here and take out the Toxicroak and take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game here, we lead Poliwrath into a Unnovan Stunfisk. So this is where we want to see it on this team, and we can often get a shield in this matchup, and because they're running Mud Shot as well, we don't have to shield the discharge because we're not at risk of being farmed down. So I'm going to let the first move go through here, and they actually bait me with a Mud Bomb. Very unnecessary bait there, not a massive energy difference between the Mud Bomb and the discharge, so really not sure why they baited there. And they go for another bait, allowing me to get to an Ice Punch, so I've got both shields from this Stunfisk and I've got them into the red health, so that is perfect. Definitely a misplay by my opponent here. I'm expecting surely they're not going to bait me again, and they do finally go for a discharge, but I'm able to get to a Dragon Claw on the CMP tie with the next charge move. We take them out, and now as long as they don't have another anti-flyer, we should be fine here. I'm going to swap into my Archeops here, and unfortunately because of that swap we don't get to the charge move in time. Now we're going to go for the Ancient Power, and this is going to be enough to take out the Pelipper, and now they've got an Obstagoon in the back. We're able to get to another Ancient Power on the CMP tie, and even though Ancient Power is not the best move, that does massive damage to the Obstagoon. And my opponent's going to go for a cross chop here and actually undercharge that, so very nice play here. Looks like they're going to be able to get to a charge move. Can we tank it on the Archen? Is this going to be enough to take us out? No, it's not. They're actually possibly not even running Night Slash there. That would have done slightly more damage, but I still think we would have been fine to tank that there, and I'm able to take out the Obstagoon and take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into next game, we lead into a Ferrothorn. I'm going to save swap into the Archen once again, and my opponent counter swaps with a Pelipper, and with a significant energy advantage, this is a pretty good matchup for us. Of course, we're going to have to shield up these weather balls. They would be taking us out because we are very squishy, but likewise, this crunch is actually going to be enough damage to take out the Pelipper if they no shield, which they do, which is perfect. They're going to come back in with the Ferrothorn, and unfortunately, they do just barely get to the charge move before I get to another crunch. Power Whip does take me out. I'm going to come back in with the poliwrath. They should be energy dry, and at this point I'm happy to just go straight for the dynamic punch. Either we get the final shield or we take out this Ferrothorn, and we do actually get the final shield, which is fine with me. I'm gonna put it all on the Archeops once again, see if we can sweep with the Archeops here. Unfortunately, they do get to another charge move, and I don't think an Ancient Power is going to be enough to take them out from this range, so I will over farm here and now go for the Ancient Power. We've nearly got the back-to-back moves here. Ancient Power takes out the Ferrothorn. They've got a Blaziken in the back. We've got the back-to-back Dragon Claws. I'm not 100% certain if an Ancient Power would have taken them out. It looks like it would have done, but to be safe, we go for the back-to-back Dragon Claws, and we take out the Blaziken there and take that game. So you see there, we're already 4-0 in this set, and into the final battle of this first set, we're leading into a Frostlass, and I'm going straight for the dynamic punch. They actually go straight for an avalanche, which makes this decision very easy. I can safely no shield that, and that is fine because I didn't really want to shield the poliwrath anyway, so that's perfectly fine with me. I'm going to go for an Ice Punch here just before they get to the next charge move. An Ice Punch does get a shield from the Frostlass. They're over farming, very nice play there, and throwing just before I get to the next move. Avalanche does take me out, and here I'm going to come in with the Archen and then go for a one shield farm down. We should be able to wing attack, farm them down before the next Avalanche, which is nice. They're going to come in with a Bullet Seed Greedent. We're going straight for a crunch, and this will do big damage to the Greedent here, and we're able to get to a Dragon Claw as well, and this might even get a shield from my opponent, and it does, so I'm happy with the Archen's work there. Gonna let it go down quite fine there. They go for a body slam, it's resisted, and it still takes me out, but that's absolutely fine here. I'm going to shield up in this matchup. They go for the crunch, they get the defense drop, but they've got a Charizard in the back, and this Ancient Power is probably enough to take out two Charizards. We take them out there, and we're able to get to another Dragon Claw up against this Greedent, and Dragon Claw is enough to take them out there, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. I actually went 5-0 in that set. That was my final set with this team. Now I'm going to show you a few more battles that were also very exciting. And this is actually the first battle I did with this team. So we lead into a Unnovan Stunfisk, and they're running Thundershock. And this is where I realized that that's actually quite problematic for me here, because Thunder Shocks with the discharge will be enough to take me out, and they're going to be able to fully farm me down. We do at least get a shield in this matchup here, but an Ice Punch not going to do an awful lot of damage. And now I'm going to swap into the Archen here, and we're going to shield up this charge move, and I can go for one more wing attack and then go for the Dragon Claw on the CMP tie, and hopefully they just let this go through, and they do. So we are able to take out the Unova and Stunfisk, but they've got a Crustle in the back, and that is unfortunate, especially when this is the one that's not running Ancient Power, because Ancient Power would have done huge damage to the Crustle there. But unfortunately we're only running Crunch, so that doesn't do enough damage. I come in with the Archeops here, try to farm them down, I'm not able to. I swap into the poliwrath, they've got a Steelix, and unfortunately we're not going to be able to win that game. So it wasn't the best start for us there, but that's one of only very few losses that we did with this team, so that's pretty insane. Into next game here, we see a Diggersby in the lead, very good lead. They swap into a Mantine here, and I'm not really sure if this is the case now, but typically in the past you see Mantine run Bubble Beam and Ice Beam, so I should be able to stay in here and tank whatever they throw. And it is just a Bubble Beam, so that's fine with me. I'm now going to swap into my Archeops here, and I am going to shield this. It could be an Ice Beam. It's just a Bubble Beam bait, but honestly that would have done massive damage, because this is a very glassy Pokemon. We go for the Ancient Power, we take them out, which is perfect. They're going to come in with a Pelipper this time, and now we can go for a Dragon Claw, not quite at the Ancient Power. Does my opponent know the accounts? No, they don't, and they do shield up, and I'm happy to let the Archeops go down here. We can now come in with the Archen here, and we should be in a very good position. We're going to shield once, and we should be able to over farm here and probably predict a catch, so I'm not going to throw straight away, and honestly it doesn't matter. I'm going to put it all on the Archen here, go for a Crunch. We do resist everything from Diggersby, but an Earthquake would do massive damage here, so I'm actually just going to force them to throw it into my poliwrath. Earthquake takes us out, but here all I have to do is get to the back-to-back Crunches here, and even though it's non-stab, Crunch takes out the bulky Diggersby. We go for a second Crunch here, and this is going to be enough to take out the Pelipper, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead Poliwrath into a Sirfetch'd, so I'm going to swap straight away. My opponent does the same thing, they swap into a Galarian Moltres, so this is the first time I've seen a Galarian Moltres on my opponent's team here. Unfortunately, once again, we swap at the same time, and we've gone into the bird without Ancient Power, so this is actually not as great a matchup as it should be. But we can just spam out these Dragon Claws here, and my opponent's going to overfarm, allowing me to get to another Dragon Claw, which is perfect for me because we get the final shield in this matchup here. I'm going to let it go down, and I should be able to come in with the Archeops. They get the Ancient Power boost, but it doesn't help them out whatsoever because I'm still able to farm them down. They come in with a Cantonian Farfetch'd, which is insane. We go for the Ancient Power here. Ancient Power one-shots the Farfetch'd, and my opponent, I think they just stop attacking at this point. They realise it's over, but a very cool team from my opponent there, so fair play to them. And yeah, GG's to that opponent, of course. Into the next game here, we lead Shadow Poliwrath into a Noctowl. Not a good lead, so I'm going to swap into the Archen straight away. My opponent's actually staying in, and they go straight for a Sky Attack. We are glassy, but we can tank a resisted move here, although it does big damage. They're going to swap into Diggersby, which is not a great response here, so I'm going to go for the back-to-back Crunches. The first one goes unshielded. We've already got them into the yellow health, and the second Crunch here also goes unshielded, and they farmed up quite a bit of energy. They should be able to get to the back-to-back Fire Punches here, so I'm going to let this go through. I'm now going to come in with my Poliwrath, expecting them to get to an Earthquake, but I don't mind. We'll be able to tank this and fully farm them down. Earthquake does big damage. They actually swap into the Noctowl. They're trying to snipe me. Very nice play, but I just had slightly too much health there, and I'm able to get to an Ice Punch, and we actually get a shield from the Noctowl here, which is really nice. They're going to go for a Shadow Ball. That would have done massive damage, probably would have taken me out in all honesty. We go for the Ancient Power here, and Ancient Power takes out the Noctowl, and they've got a Alolan Marowak in the back. We're going straight for another Ancient Power. That does massive damage, and we can safely shield here. Probably going to be a Bone Club bait. Doesn't matter. They swap into the Diggersby, get farmed down, and then they get farmed down with the Marowak as well, and I'm able to take that game. So Archen and Archeops are putting in so much work, and there we went 4-1 in that first set that we had. Now into the next battle here, we lead into another Thunder Shock Unreleased Stunfisk. So this time we're actually going to shield in this matchup, because what I don't want is for them to land one move and then fully farm me down. So we build up to the Ice Punch here, go for it, and we get a shield, and now we could of course have a Scald, so we might even get a second shield. And we don't, but that is fine. I'm happy now, and at this point I can let the poliwrath go down. So now I'm going to swap into the Archen, and once again we swap at the same time as my opponent, bringing in a flyer, and once again I bring in the Archen and it doesn't have ancient power, so that's not ideal. So I'm actually just going to let the Archen go down here. Shadow Ball one-shots me. That's pretty insane. But here I should be able to shield once and then fully farm down with my Archeops here, which is going to be the ideal play here, because I'm expecting a double flying team. They go straight for the Shadow Ball. We do shield it up, and we've got a ton of energy now. They come in with the Pelipper here. All we have to do is make sure they don't catch the next charge move. So I'm going to wait a turn there, see that they're actually going for the fast move, so I can go for the ancient power, take out the Pelipper. We get a boost finally, and we're going to go for a Dragon Claw, and Dragon Claw is going to be enough to take out the Unreleased Stunfisk, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead poliwrath into Steelix. So my opponent's going to save swap into Pelipper, and unfortunately now they're one fast move ahead. They should be able to guarantee this matchup all the way through, because we get to the charge moves at the same rate here. So that is unfortunate for me, because I'm not going to be able to maintain switch advantage unless my opponent does misplay. So they go for a Weather Ball, and they've got both shields from me. I'm going to go for the Dragon Claw here, and they don't throw their charge move. So now I can go for another Dragon Claw here, and I'm going to be able to take out the Pelipper and regain switch advantage, which is going to be vital here. I'm committing to the crunch. We're able to get there just before the Steelix takes me out, and this is good because it means that in the end game I'm actually might not gonna, oh my gosh, I know how to speak, I might not be able to get to the Dynamic Punch, but Ice Punch might be enough to take them out here. They're just going to save swap into a double here. We go for the Dynamic Punch, and Dynamic Punch takes out the double. Can I get to the Dynamic Punch again? No, I'm not able to, so I have to swap out there, catch the Psychic Fangs, and as long as I can get to a charge move here, they're going to be in range for me to go for that Ice Punch, like I was saying. And yes, Dragon Claw does big damage there, and they're easily in the Ice Punch range now, so we can safely go for it here and take out the Steelix and take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game here, we lead poliwrath into a Golbat, so I'm going to save swap into the Archen once again. My opponent's going to stay in initially and then swap into a Quillfish. We're going to go for the Dragon Claw, and this, even though it's non-stab, even though it's only 35 energy, does massive damage here. We're going for a second one, and we get a shield from my opponent. We're going to shield this Aquatail here, and we're already at another Dragon Claw, and this will be taking out the Quillfish if they choose to let it go through, and they do. They're going to come in with a Lucario, and we should be able to get to the Ice Punch here before the Shadow Ball. So it's a CMP tie. If it's a close combat, then fair play to this opponent. It is, it one-shots me, and now unfortunately that looks like we're not going to be able to win this game here. I have to call that they're going for the Shadow Ball. It is a Poison Fang, it's a bait. We don't get to the back-to-back Dragon Claws in time, and they're already at a Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball takes out the Archeops there, and we do lose that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead into a Ferrothorn, and once again we're going to save swap into the Archen here, and my opponent's actually staying in, and they're over farming here, probably committing to the Thunder, which is unnecessary because we are very glassy here. But that does allow me to get off my crunch, and they do go for the Thunder, which is great for me. My opponent realizes they're actually going to get farmed down there, so they do swap into a Noctowl. I'm going to go for the Dragon Claw bait. Unfortunately, of course, we're not running Ancient Power on the Archen, but that is fine. We still get the shield, and we can now go for the crunch. That does big damage. My opponent throws just before we get to the next Dragon Claw, so very nice timing by them. We're going to come in with the Archeops here, shield once and then commit to the full farm down, and then we should be able to take out whatever is in the back. We're going to have to wait and see, and it is a Pelipper here, and we're going to go for the Ancient Power. They now have enough energy for a Weather Ball, so I will swap after this move here, try to catch the move. They don't throw straight away, very nice discipline, but they don't over farm here, so they go straight for the Hurricane. I come in with the Archeops here, forgot I could have been able to farm them down, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to be able to outpace this Pelipper here and get to the Ancient Power here, and this is going to be enough to take out the Pelipper, and I'm able to take that game and also get a pointless boost, so you love to see it. So that's going to be it for today's video. I had so much fun running this team, so I hope you guys did enjoy the battles, and if you did, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more spicy content like this in the future, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications, and that way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And with that being said, let's get into the shoutouts from my previous video. So firstly, we've got Ida, who says, I think Charizard benefited a lot from the wing attack buff, and I completely agree. Charizard is actually very similar to the two Pokemon I used today with the wing attack and Dragon Claw spam, except its other charge move is going to hit like an absolute truck, which makes it extremely threatening to a lot of Pokemon and even the neutral matchups. So yeah, definitely think Charizard is kind of underrated and has benefited a lot from the wing attack buff. Next we got Jaka Kaus, who says, I don't know about underrated, but Duckler is going to be even more broken in 500, and I haven't seen anyone talking about it. And yeah, if there was any Pokemon in the Little Cup that needed a buff, it wasn't Ducklet. So yeah, I think it's going to be absolutely busted. I wouldn't be surprised if they ban it in the next Little Cups as well, because it's probably just going to be too strong. And finally, we got RF, who says, Shadow Staraptor, extremely glassy, but one of the best closers up shields. Wing attack buff makes it even spammier to get to back-to-back close combats and nuke most Pokemon. It's really underrated and it deserves more love. And I completely agree. You guys know that I used Shadow Staraptor multiple times last season in the Great and Ultra League, and I used it with the quick attack when that did receive a buff, but with wing attack getting a buff, it just makes it so much better. You now regain the ability to fully farm down Pokemon like Trevenant and then just nuke whatever comes in next, and that is just absolutely amazing. So definitely Shadow Staraptor, an underrated beneficiary of the wing attack buff. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.